Welcome students. Today we will discuss the prose piece, The Singing Lesson, written by Catherine Mansfield. Catherine Mansfield is one of the finest short story writers of the modern era, and she wrote stories on the technique of objective correlatives, that is, the various activities of the protagonist and the concerned character would show their mentality. Her The Fly, a short story, is generally included in any anthology of great short stories. How our psychic process affects our activity has become the theme of many of our stories, and this story, that is the singing lesson, is not also an exception. So let us come to the story. At the very beginning of the story, we get one character, Mrs. Meadows. She is a singing teacher of a school, and she is very frustrated. Why? Suddenly she got a letter from her fiancé Basil. Basil announced that he would not marry Mrs. Meadows. Basil was of 25 years of age. Mrs. Meadows was of 30 years. Their marriage was fixed. Suddenly, Basil announced that he couldn't marry Mrs. Meadows because she didn't think himself fit and efficient and responsible enough to take the responsibility of a marriage. It was a bolt from the blue for Mrs. Meadows. Actually, that marriage was also an emblem of her social status. If that marriage is broken, how she could face the relatives, the neighbors, and particularly her colleagues, she thought. She entered in the classroom. One of her favorite student presented her one chrysanthemum, but she was too melancholic to admit or to recognize or to express any of her glee by receiving the gift. The autumnal gleeful atmosphere was in sharp contrast with her frustrated, dejected, melancholic mood. The students also were gleeful characteristically, but she was in deep melancholia. While coming to the classroom, she met the science teacher, but Mrs. Meadows disliked that science teacher for her excess of unnecessary sweetness, and so as she smiled, Mrs. Meadows only in return gave a grimace. She told the students to open at page number 14 and to sing the song A Lament. At first, she ordered them to sing the song without any expression. Then again, she ordered them, second time, to sing the song with expression. Every letter seemed to her as if reflected and expressed her groan, her mourning. She was thinking within herself, how could Basil write a letter in such a way? She was thinking that she would have to leave the job and go elsewhere because she wouldn't be able to face all the curiosity of her colleagues, and she couldn't admit the fact of the termination of their relationship. It would be an ignominy, it would be a humiliation to her social status, to her personal status. It would be an utter defeat. So she was thinking to leave the job and go elsewhere. At that very moment, Monica, one small girl, called her and told that headmistress Mrs. Witt called her. Mrs. Meadows went to the headmistress room. Headmistress gave her one telegram. It was from Basil. Basil told that the previous letter was written whimsically and to not to give any concentration or any attention to that later. And Basil was ready to marry, and he has even bought one cap set and cap stand for that marriage purpose. Headmistress also informed Mrs. Meadow that from the next time, good information or good message should wait until the class is over. Thus, in the character of headmistress, we get a judicious mixture of gravity and levity, logical strictness. Now Mrs. Meadows went back to her classroom and told the students to open at page number 32 and sing a gleeful, joyful, cheerful song. She herself also joined them. The story obviously shows the fickle-mindedness of the fiancé Basil. The story also shows the hyper-sensitive nature of Mrs. Meadows. So she was thinking to resign from her job and to go elsewhere. And that story also shows the cheerful, joyful nature of the children. But another thing, even in that dejected, melancholic state of mind, Mrs. Meadows took her class. And so it shows that she was a sincere teacher, and that is why she got the gift of a chrysanthemum also. And having seen her, the children were elated. So in normal time, she was a good teacher. But on that day, obviously she was frustrated, melancholic. Her melancholia and frustration got the revelation through her tension and anxiety of meeting her social rivals and mates, friends. And the post-telegram delight also has been revealed in the music class by her instruction of singing a merry note. So, the story is a fine specimen of short story. The various moods and psychic pattern of human beings have been revealed by their facial language, body language, words and activities. So this is the discussion of the story, The Singing Lesson. If you have any query, you please write in the message box, and if you get any benefit from this video, you inform me and share it, like it, Shobhan's Class Talk, and we would come back with more videos on various interesting themes and topics.